No complaints.
No complaints. Count your blessings, people. Stop complaining and count your blessings. Just like my blessing. Mr. Matt is saying yes to be my co-host on Low 101. And for sure, that's a great, tremendous blessing. So, Mr. Matt, what will be our topic for today?
Daniel, I think we're going to dive into asset protection and what it really means and why it's not for the ultra wealthy,
Mm.
or why it's not just for the ultra wealthy.
It's not for the wealthy people like Elon Musk, don't you think?
I'm sure he has some really complex plans out there.
Mm, yes, to hide all those wealth. It's something else for sure. So tell us the difference between the retirement account from the brokerage account, that when it comes to creditor exposure, what is all
Definitely.
about?
One of the biggest misconceptions and one of the biggest issues I see with most people out there is they create businesses, they separate their liability from what they're doing and their personal life, but then they go out and they have this huge brokerage account that's in their name and it's just there in the open. And they don't realize that if there is a lawsuit, these assets are up for grab if there is a creditor judgment upon them. And so, having been in the financial services industry for over 20 years, I've seen it happen. I've seen people who have retired, they get in a car accident, and then the next thing you know, the judgment spills over and they come after the brokerage accounts. And most advisors that I speak to, they understand the difference between what a retirement account can do for protection versus what a personal account can. And so when you have these accounts in your name that are, taxable accounts aren't retirement accounts, you're opening yourself up to liability. So one of the biggest things that asset protections attorneys will go out and do is they're going to separate the liability that is your brokerage and personal assets from you as the individual. So if you do have a lawsuit that comes at you, one of the first things that an attorney is going to do, the other side, is they're going to want to know, hey, what do you have out there? What's in your name? Well, if this is not in your name, it's not an asset that they can go grab, as opposed to retirement accounts. So let's talk about 401ks, let's talk about IRAs. These type of things have some protection both on the federal side as well as the state side for IRAs, for example. And so if there is an issue, it makes it much harder for people to grab these type of accounts. And so what I see all the time is somebody assumes that, hey, since my IRA is protected to an extent, my 401k is protected, well, then I must be protected on my individual side. And that's just not true, Daniel.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. So, why asset protections matters when while people are still building wealth?
Fantastic question. And a lot of this comes down to we're building something, so let's build it properly. And I think you've heard me say it before on Book 101 when we first had our first meeting with each other. If you're going to do something, do it right. So if I'm going to build out a business, I should do it right. I should make sure that the business is separate from my personal life, that I have the protections that I'm doing, that nobody can come through, pierce that corporate veil because I'm doing the proper protections and get my assets from my personal side. And so when you're doing it, do it right. Build out the proper structure, separate assets from the business itself, create this structure that from the get go, you're understanding how all of this works together. Asset protection isn't just about protecting your business from you personally, it's the whole realm of it. Once you handle the asset protection, then you handle the tax strategy. You have the estate planning built into all this. So these are all different disciplines that in today's society, they treat them as separate entity or separate ordeals for you. So you'll go see an estate planner, you'll go see a business attorney, you'll go see a financial planner. Well, none of them are really working in congruence with each other, and that becomes the problem. In reality, all of these things are connected, and they're holding each other's hands. And so when you start building out early on, you're going to realize, hey, this is all connected. Thank God I started early, because years down the road, what typically happens is, oh, I'll get to it. I'll do it next month. And then what happens? You hit a car on your way home, and the next thing you know, you're being sued for personal assets. And
Hmm.
that's why you start early, because if you start too late, nothing I can do for you. Most asset protection attorneys will tell you, look, the suit's already here. If we move something now, you're going to get in serious trouble.
So, Mr. Math, why taxable brokerage accounts have a little but no built-in asset protection?
So most people, when you look at the regular brokerage account, they'll confuse things like SIPC protection for protection. And what
Hmm.
that protection really is for, and I've got a SIPC sign behind me here. You can't see it because the window's down. But what that protection is for is really if, let's say, the company that's holding your money becomes insolvent, or some other issue where poof, it's gone. And we had a lot of this back in the Great Depression, where overnight, poof, it's gone. And it's not really because the market comes down, but it's more because mismanagement, I would like to say, or more along the lines of some type of issue where, what was his name? Bernie Madoff. That's a perfect
Hmm.
example where there was theft involved, Ponzi scheme type setup. So that can protect in those matters up to a certain amount of money. It's not a huge amount of money if you're worth millions, but it offers some protection. And when people look at the brokerage account, they just assume, hey, I'm protected. It has SIPC, but that's not the type of protection that protects you from creditors. A creditor can come in, SIPC doesn't matter. I have a judgment against you. You have $3 million in this brokerage account. It's in your name. We're coming for it. And that's what you'll see heavily misconfused with the brokerage world, the financial industry.
So, Mr. Math, is common everyday lawsuits that put investment accounts at risk.
So we mentioned one earlier, that there's a car accident. Car
Hmm.
accidents happen all the time, and I see it from time to time. I get a phone call, hey, I got in a car accident, insurance paid them, and now they're suing me personally. And this is the type of situation where nobody really plans for. When we talk about planning for, especially for professionals, lawyers, doctors, we're planning where, hey, something goes wrong in business. A doctor, somebody dies on the table. These are things that are related with the business. We get E&O insurance. We try to contain them into that type of business. It's those hidden lawsuits you've heard me talk about that are the big problem. What comes down is it's just something you never expected. You have a contractual disagreement with somebody and they sue you. You personally guaranteed something in your business, and you failed. And now they're coming after you personally. Another one that we see often in the news is, you go to a restaurant, you go to a bar, you get in an argument with somebody, a fight breaks out, you punch them, they have a broken jaw. Next thing you know, you're being sued for that situation. And so it's these little types of things that we don't think about that can come in and steal our wealth. And it doesn't have to be, oh, I've got $5 million put aside. No, I've worked very hard for the things I've built in life, and I want to protect those. It doesn't matter the amount of it. It's worth protecting. And that's what we need to step forward to, is do these type of protection strategies so that if there is a hidden lawsuit, a spillover type situation, it's going to be contained, because your assets are technically not your assets. You just control them.
Why insurance alone is not the same as asset protection, Mr. Matt?
So, insurance, I have that conversation all the time. I've got an umbrella policy, I have insurance. Well, insurance is there to protect you if something goes wrong. It's there to, hey, cover some of the expenses, cover some of the loss if something goes wrong. Asset protection is really a side ordeal. Asset protection is we're taking it out of your name. We're taking the ownership away from you so that if there is an issue, they don't have these assets there for somebody to go after. And so what you mostly see is insurance and asset protection. They're not two separate fields. They're you combine them together. I'm gonna have my insurance, my E&O. I'm gonna have my umbrella policy. I'm gonna have these type of things that protect me if a situation happens, because that's the goal of insurance. But if, let's say, that's not enough, let's say somebody breaks through that and they want more. Well, we want to make sure there's nothing there for them to grab. There's a much bigger stance that you can take when someone's suing you, when you tell the opposing attorney, look, my client has no money in his name. My client doesn't have assets that you can grab. And as an attorney, a plaintiff type attorney looking at the lawsuit, it becomes, is this even worthwhile going after? And so that in itself, court's not cheap. Running through these type of ordeals are very expensive. But if you can shut it down at the beginning by saying, look, I have insurance, I have some protection, let's let insurance do its job and end it there, then you save yourselves a massive amount of time, massive amounts of stress and worry, and you can move on with your life.
Mm-hmm. Move on. For sure, move on, people. So, Mr. Matt, what's the biggest misconception a everyday person has about asset protection that makes them think it's only for the wealthy?
I think the misconception is it's very complex strategies. You don't see too much of it. Most times you need an attorney to come through and handle it for you. But it's not that complex. It's not that difficult. What you do is you set it up properly and you maintain it. And for a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, again, I'll get back to it. What is worth protecting? For me, all the things I've built, all the savings and all the not buying things when I really wanted them to so that I could save money for the future, that is worthwhile to me to protect. And I think for a lot of people, it's very simple. Start simple, separate the assets, create entities that can hold them. They're easy to maintain, and just keep going with them, maintain them, keep them up to date. One of the things I see all the time with people, and it's kind of funny because I've never met somebody, I think, in most of my business life, they create an LLC for their business and then they forget to file their franchise taxes. And then they get a letter from the state saying, hey, you're defunct. And this happens. And I have friends call me all the time, like, hey, my business is defunct. What do I do? And my response is always, don't do anything stupid. So don't don't go get in a fight at your business. Just play it cool, get on the phone with the Secretary of State, and let's get this fixed. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's little things that you have to learn along the way that make it easier. But once you understand how to manage it, it's really simple. And so you don't need to have $20 million dollars in a bank to say, hey, my assets are worth protecting at this point. It's find that amount that you've worked hard for, that you want to protect, and you're willing to do an extra step or two just to protect yourself and your work in life. And once
Mm-hmm.
you find that point, go set it up, protect it, get these brokerage accounts out of your name, do those type of things to manage your life a little bit easier.
A little bit easier, for sure. So, how joint accounts and beneficiary designations can actually increase risk?
So this is one of those misunderstood conceptions in law. Let's say using the brokerage account, because we're talking about that a lot today. I have a
Mm-hmm.
brokerage account with my spouse. And
Okay.
so that's in a joint name. So she contributes, I contributes, or maybe she's just on the account or vice versa. But what happens if she gets into a lawsuit where she's now sued, she loses a judgment, and a creditor's coming? Well, her name's attached to that brokerage account. So therefore, they can go after that brokerage account. Another thing we see all the time are bank accounts and things like that, where they can come after the account that may be most of your money, but she's on there. And so then they could come after me for those type of accounts. A huge problem I see all the time is we add our children to our bank accounts and things like that. This creates immediate liability. It's giving your 16-year-old son, you put a bank account, you're there with them, and he gets in a car accident or something like that, or they're on your account as an older adult. How many times have we talked about, Daniel, with kind of your work with the elderly and my situation with people who have dementia, where you're adding somebody to that bank account to help take care of it? Well, what happens if that person gets in an accident, punches somebody on a restaurant on a night out? Next thing you know, this money is exposed. And so they're able to come after these type of things. So when we add people to accounts, we want to be very careful how we're doing that, who we're adding, and do we put all of that money into one account, or do we maybe layer it out and move money into that account when needed to protect ourselves from other people's liability?
Mm, that's a good thing that you are empowering us, Mr. Matt. Thank you, thank you.
Indeed. I,
So,
I think the one of the worst things that could be happening to somebody is if you lose money, your hard-earned money, because somebody else made a mistake and they're tied to that account. That to me would be, oh, I didn't even do anything wrong and now my money's being taken. And so that's one of the things that people have to keep in mind. Liability is not just on you, it's on other people when you share accounts.
yes, definitely. And what point should someone start thinking seriously about asset protection? Is it a certain income level, a net worth, or home ownership, or simply starting a family?
That always changes. And so what we'll see a lot of times is, for example, you have your house, you're making decent money, but you don't have a lot of assets. And then all of a sudden you get you inherit a house, you get a parent's
Yes.
home, something like that. And so the question becomes, well, what do I do with this asset? Maybe I'm going to rent it out. Well, once you start renting it out, you're creating liability. And you don't want this liability on this asset to come back across to you. So typically, when we start talking to people about these things, is hey, I've got an asset that I need to protect, not just the asset, but the business that's associated with the asset. I want to separate those two things out, but I also want to separate it from my own life. And so that's a lot of what we see. Another thing is, we're talking about brokerage accounts. At what point do
Mm-hmm.
you say, "Hey, look, I'm going to create a holding company, start putting my assets into this, and retitle everything that I own, so that it goes to the holding company, and then from this holding company, I can move money to my personal account when I need it," creating layers. And so that is really just a judgment call on yourself. Again, how much have you worked? How much do you want to protect what you've worked for? Is the main question you should be asking yourself. At that point, that's when you step in and do something.
Yes, do something to it for your future, people. And Mr. Matt, what is the foundation principle of a sound asset protection strategy? Is it about hiding asset, or is it about a legal or ethical structure of ownership and separation?
That was always my interpretation of asset protection, was hiding assets. Oh, I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna create an offshore account and I'm gonna move all my money secretly over there. But that's not what it is.
Uh-huh.
It's completely legal. So it's not hiding assets, it's creating structures of protection. And I always, I love the movie Shrek. And I always like when
Mhm.
Shrek and Donkey are walking through the field and Shrek's trying to explain to Donkey, look, ogres, we're complex. We're like onions. We have a lot of layers. And of
Yes.
course, Donkey is like, oh, onions. But that is the asset protection strategy. We're creating layers, and these are legal layers. And
Hmm.
you're not hiding anything. These are all entities that are created, or they're trusts that are irrevocable type entities as well. And you're layering things up, so it just makes it harder and harder to come through. And you'll see what happens in these cases, especially with liability, is when this judgment comes, when these people start coming to look for it, it becomes, oh well, we can't really get any of this because none of it's in their name. Nobody's hiding anything. It's like, look, sorry. And even if you do show it, it becomes, we're not hiding anything, we're just letting you know you're not getting it.
Mhm. Interesting, Mr. Matt. But before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, my other podcast, because my Abstract Essay is already in sixth season, Abstract Poetry in third season, and my Book 101 Review in sixth season as well. Comedy 101 third season, and my Food 101 in sixth season. Geography 101 Love Letters, Movie 101 Review, Music 101 in fourth season, Science 101 and Sex 101 third season, and of course, Baby Podcast, my Baby Podcast Trivia 101, and of course, our Low 101 with Mr. Matt. Mental Health 101, Motivation 101, Entrepreneurship 101, and of course, Bible Verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Matt, if you could give our audience a 3-step starter plan to implement the next 90 days, what those actionable steps be?
So over the next 90 days, it's really starting to look at the things that you want to protect. And how do we do that? With every person I meet, we always ask the same question. It's put it down on paper, the things that are important to you that you want to protect. Once you get it on paper, start asking yourself, okay, how do I protect these things? Do I need separate entities for everything, or can I start combining these type of things together? Typically, you can put those passive assets together, but separate the businesses that are connected. And once you get that mental idea of what you want to do, reach out to somebody like me who can help you build out the foundations that you need to protect yourself going forward.
Yes, people, let's follow Mr. Matt, because if you follow him, for sure you have a smooth riding about your wealth. So, Mr. Matt, would you like to plug in something?
Always, I love a good plug. You can check me out at Meridian Legal Advisors, and that's meridianlg.com. And we got the website up there. We do law, tax protection all in one. We're your one-stop shop. No longer having multiple advisors handling things who never communicate with each other. We communicate with each other. We do it daily. Typically when we're drinking coffee and we're talking about your situation and how we're going to protect you. We'd love to hear from you. If you have questions, reach out to us. There's contact information always at the bottom, and you can reach me on LinkedIn. You can reach me on Facebook and Instagram. I'm slowly putting videos out, Daniel. It's new for me, but we're getting there.
Yes, definitely. Yes. And this episode is being brought to you by Meridian Legal Advisors. People, let's support Mr. Matthew Meredith, because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering low tax protection will rise. So, Mr. Matt, thank you so much for your time.
Always good, Daniel.
More to come, people. See you soon. Tune in next week, people. We have, for sure, bigger, bolder, and brighter episodes every now and then.